Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. We're continuing the theme of using the Sending Smiles stamp set. This time I've paired it with the Sketched Plaid to make this Sending a Card to Say Hello. Really cute set. This is the prototype. I'm going to do a couple of things just a little bit differently on the card we do in the video. I've used Fresh Freesia, Highland Heather, and Daffodil Delight for the colors. So I'm using my Stamparatus, which is the best way to manage the large stamps. And because I've stamped it down, I can see exactly where things are. And the lines are crooked here, and I'd like them to be straight. And I'd like not to have this empty set of squares at the top. So I want my lines to start at the top and be square. So what I've got is a 5 by 3 3/4 piece of basic white. And I can see from here, even if I just stamp this down now because I haven't cleaned it, I can see where the lines actually are. So I can sort of line this up a little bit, just like that. What it means is I'm going to have possibly some empty squares at the bottom, but that's where the greeting's going, so I'm not so concerned about that. So I'm going to ink this up in the Fresh Freesia. I tried it in the Highland Heather and it was just a little dark. So you can always stamp away with this, but I just chose to go with the Highland Heather, or with the Fresh Freesia. And so I'm just going to bring this over. And what I'm realizing is it's just a little bit too low. So I'm going to pop it up just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Perfect. That's a nice thing. If you're not quite sure where to line up your paper, you can always stamp down once and lift the stamp up, and then you can see exactly where your pieces are going to go. And you'll notice, I don't know if you saw it really quickly while I was talking, there was a little bit that was missed here. But the paper hadn't moved, so I was able just to push this back down, push in that one spot, and there you go. We've got a fully covered piece. And here's the difference. This one is crooked with space at the top. This one is relatively straight with no space at the top, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm just going to move my Stamparatus out of the way for now. And we can just start building the card. I have cut out the flowers, and I did them all in Highland Heather on this one, but I'm going to tic-tac-toe them with the Fresh Freesia and the Highland Heather on this one. So a couple changes I'm making just as I go along on this one, but that's what prototypes are for. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the card I've already built. It's a great card, but when I look at it, the finished product, sometimes I'm like, I'd do this differently. So you get the benefit of my thought process. So let's just line that up like we normally do, drop it down. You could adhere the basic white to the Highland Heather and then dimensionalize all of that if you wanted to. But because I'm dimensionalizing all the flowers, I thought I would just leave this flat down like that. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it really well in the video or not, the difference in color. This Fresh Freesia ink doesn't really match the background paper, but once it dries properly, it will match. It's, as usual, the ink is a little bit darker when it's wet. So I'm going to go ahead and do the greeting first. I had actually cut out a whole bunch of mini dimensionals and I have no idea what I've done with them. So we're just going to cut a few more little pieces just along the edge. These are minis and I just trim along the edge so I get smaller pieces, and I use those for the smaller greeting dies. But it looks like I did too good a job of tidying up. I put things out of the way. So I'm going to put this down at the bottom to start with, because I know where I want this. And it's nice we've actually do have the one line there, so I can just pop this in. I'm just going to hold it up to make sure it's straight, and it is straight. And I've used the dies from the Sending Smiles dies. This is in the Highland Heather, and I've put adhesive backing on the Sending, the small detailed piece in the Fresh Freesia. And I'm just going to start this off, just pressing it down. You don't want to pull too hard on these because you can actually tear them, but I just want to make sure that I'm anchoring them down evenly and in their spaces. There we go. And I am terrible for capturing the eye, the dot on the eye. So there's no dot on the eye on these ones, but it's okay. It's all good. Okay, so what I also need is dimensionals for the Sending. So I've got a whole bunch of little ones here that I've trimmed off the edge, and it's perfect for things like this. You can use the mini dimensionals in the middle, but if, like me, you've used up all your mini dimensionals, you can just use the edge of the page. So let's peel these off, and you can put this straight, you can put it crooked, you can absolutely angle this however you like. I quite like it on an angle like this. So that's what I'm going to do. What it means is it might interfere with a couple of the flowers here, but we'll just see what happens. So I am going to just start tic-tac-toeing this. I've got 5 of the Fresh Freesia ones and 4 of the Highland Heather ones. So I'm trying to make sure that I put them in so that the flowers are not going in the same direction. And the reason I'm doing that is just so it feels a little bit more random and a little bit more interesting. So let's just keep going with these. And like that. And then I can tuck this one underneath like that. And then I need to decide if I'm actually going to put one under here. And I think I might. And then just before I peel the backing off, see, I've got the dimensional on here, underneath here. So I'm just going to peel that up and see if I can still put that flower underneath. And I think I am going to still put that flower underneath, but I'm actually going to peel the dimensional off of it. And I'm just going to flat mount it because there is the dimensional on the G. So I'm just going to tuck that underneath and pop that back down again. So decisions made on the fly. There is our second in the series of Sending Smile cards for this week. And I have to say, I kind of like this one better. My prototype, it's a great card, but I think this is my favorite. So thank you so much for watching, and let's create together again soon.